I'm so pissed off.
Is it fair to say then Jon Jones is retired and this is the end of his time?
Yes.
Okay.
Very fair.
Some amazing fights, but we can do better than this. We can do better than this. I've made my own White House card, which isn't in fairy tale land, like a lot of people's White House cards were, because we're going to go through that in today's video as well. But we can do better than this. Bo Nickel versus Kyle Daukaus is not a matchup where you're like, we've got to save this for the White House card. Put it in the Apex.
Jones would have probably taken down Pereira. Wouldn't have been easy, right? Magomed Ankalaev has tried to do that. Other people have tried to do that. Jan Blachowicz tried to do that. But this is Jon Jones we're talking about. Look at what he did to Cyril Gane. And remember, in the first round, even Tom Aspinall couldn't take down Cyril Gane. But Jon could, right? So that's just something to think about. Jon would have probably taken Pereira down and finished him by a ground and pound, you know, choked him out, whatever. Tom, in any way, I wish him nothing but the best, and I want to see Tom Aspinall back in the cage doing what he does best. But I can't help but think that Eddie Hearn's kind of playing games here, but we'll see. I talked about that before. The reality of the situation is, though, he's not ready to come back just yet, so they've done.
Dana White is under a storm of backlash after the White House card reveal, as both fans and MMA insiders lash out, claiming the roster collapses under its own hype, with titans like Jon Jones, Conor McGregor, and Islam Makhachev glaringly absent, leaving the crowd restless, rumors swirling, and whispers of behind-the-scenes chaos threatening to explode at any moment.
White House card was just announced, and for what we were promised, this is a massive letdown. And I'm gonna explain why this had every opportunity to bring the UFC back to prominence, to stake their claim once again as the combat sports outlet across boxing, MMA, and everything in between. And they fumbled it. Not because they had to, not because there was no other way to do it, but because the UFC is in a place right now.
Jon Jones erupted in visible fury upon discovering he wouldn't step into the cage for the card, unleashing a torrent of seething posts across social media, each dripping with frustration, disappointment, and barely contained rage, leaving fans buzzing with speculation and a sense that something far darker than mere scheduling conflicts was brewing behind the scenes.
I'm so pissed off.
Yet Dana White stepped forward to clarify Jon Jones's absence from the UFC White House card, citing lingering hip injuries, his uncertain retirement status, and a tangled web of other factors that rendered the fight impossible, emphasizing that despite rumors, speculation, or any supposed negotiations, nothing could alter the final reality, leaving fans both frustrated and unnervingly intrigued by what was really happening behind the polished public statements.
This speculation, of course, that it's Jon Jones.
No, it's not.
Was Jon
Ever, which I told you guys 100,000 times, was Jon Jones even remotely in my mind to fight at the White House. I wouldn't. First of all, I've told you why I wouldn't do it. And number two, some guy with, meta glasses on filmed him talking about his hips, that his hips are so bad. And I don't know if you guys saw that flag football game where he can barely run. Jon Jones he retired because of his hips. He's got arthritis in his hips. Add that on top of all the other reasons that I wouldn't. The Jon Jones thing is bullshit. I'm not saying they weren't talking to Jon Jones and that Jon Jones wasn't interested in the fight. And what was even crazier is Jon Jones came out and was like, I'm in negotiations right now for the White House fight, after I had already sent a text to his lawyer saying, never going to happen ever.
Is it fair to say then Jon Jones is retired and this is the end of his time?
Yes. Very fair.
Jon Jones was struck by disbelief upon learning he'd been excluded from the UFC White House card, openly questioning the circumstances and visibly shocked at being sidelined from what was meant to be a historic event. I'm released from the UFC, he declared, his voice heavy with frustration and hurt as he confronted the situation, admitting the unfolding reality cut deep. Laying in my bed, wrapping my head around this perception, all I can think is how painful, man, how painful, he confessed, a raw honesty revealing both anguish and inner turmoil. Despite his anguish, a flicker of doubt lingered, a conflicted voice whispering, and then the other half of me is like, but is it really, though? The tension within him mirrored the swirling uncertainty outside, where Ariel Helwani reported that the UFC had sincerely attempted to secure Jones's participation on the card. Yet he clarified a crucial detail: the much-speculated fight that everyone assumed had collapsed wasn't actually the one that fell apart last night, according to the sources he'd accessed, leaving fans in a whirlwind of confusion, anticipation, and the gnawing sense that unseen forces had shifted the landscape behind the polished headlines, and that Jones's absence carried more weight than anyone could yet comprehend.
I'll tell you this. They did seriously try to have Jon Jones on this card, and they couldn't get to the number. Now, a lot of people are talking about this fight that fell through. I don't think that that's the fight that fell through last night. That's not what I was.
Jon Jones unleashed a storm of skepticism, questioning whether the negotiations had been nothing but a hollow exercise and refusing to bow to the idea of publicly endorsing it. So all of this negotiating was complete? Is that what you want me to agree to publicly? He demanded, a sharp edge of disbelief cutting through every word. His frustration twisted further, aimed squarely at Dana White as he probed, if I would prove him wrong, would I be wrong? A raw reflection of the tangled power play behind the scenes. The notion of being forced to admit the talks were false struck him as intolerable. If I'm supposed to publicly agree that our negotiations was a lie, we have a problem, he insisted, his voice threaded with defiance and exasperation. Behind the headlines, Ariel Helwani confirmed that Jones had indeed been engaged in talks for the White House card. Negotiations had occurred, yet the deal never reached closure. Helwani suggested that withholding public confirmation made strategic sense, given the intense scrutiny the card was under, leaving the impression of hidden tensions, unspoken rivalries, and a volatile dance of ego and influence simmering just beneath the surface, a labyrinth Jones was unwilling to navigate silently.
Ariel Helwani said, in since deleted tweets, Jon Jones responds to the narrative that he was never in the running to fight on the White House card. For what it's worth, Jones is 100% right. They did talk, they did negotiate, they just didn't close the deal. Not sure why Dana said otherwise yesterday. Well, I guess I do know. Why would you want to admit when everyone is poo-pooing a card that you couldn't agree to terms with a massive name like Jones?
Jon Jones feared he'd be left carrying the full weight of the fallout, grimly declaring, I'll be the fall guy, a chilling acknowledgement of the blame he felt destined to shoulder. Meanwhile, Tom Aspinall reacted with a mix of shock and bewilderment at the UFC White House card, his eyes narrowing over Jones's absence and the shattered expectations for the marquee matchups. Aspinall admitted that, despite the remaining bouts still holding intrigue, a gnawing sense of unfinished business lingered, especially with Cyril gone, fueling his resolve and keeping his focus razor-sharp on the opportunities still waiting in the shadows, where every fight promised both risk and the tantalizing chance to rewrite narratives that had suddenly turned unpredictable and dangerously volatile.
She's there.
So surely him and Topuria.
It's got to be him and Topuria then, hasn't it? It's like he just woke up. What about Jon Jones? I thought Jon Jones was on it.
Where's he gone?
Where's he gone, John? So that's it, no prelims, just that.
Yeah.
One,
just
two,
just
three.
whilst that plays out, what's your thoughts? You can just put the sound down a tiny bit.
I thought they were going to do Topuria versus Makhachev, is what I thought. And then they were going to do Pereira versus Jones. I mean, they're still decent fights. They're still alright. I mean, they're still good fights, aren't they?
I have to ask you about that Pereira-Gan fight. If obviously Pereira wins, you all good with that?
Mate, I'm happy with any of them. There's still a bit of unfinished business there with me and Gan, so if Pereira wins, fight Pereira first, fight Gan next.
Israel Adesanya threw his full support behind Alex Pereira to topple Cyril Gane at the White House card, asserting with unwavering confidence that Pereira possesses the lethal power to end the fight decisively even in the face of Gane's elusive movement, hinting at a high-stakes clash where every strike could tilt the balance and the outcome might snap in an instant, leaving fans on edge as the drama quietly simmers just beneath the surface of the announced bouts.
They had to make do with what they have. They would have loved to have Jones on there, but I hope Alex wins. That's crazy. Like 3 times. Yeah. Gane's no joke, and Gane can dance around him. Gane's slick to knock him out as well. But I think Alex can knock him out too.
Meanwhile, Dana White quietly admits negotiations with Conor McGregor are still alive, yet warns the comeback clock isn't ticking yet, and the real return date remains nowhere in sight.
Is there any update on when or if he'll fight again?
No. But we are definitely talking to Conor, obviously.
But there's no like timetable, you just, okay.
Not even close.
However, Conor McGregor accuses the UFC of sidelining him from headline events like the White House card, insisting they exploit his drawing power to inflate paychecks on lesser shows while keeping him just out of the spotlight, a shadowy puppet master playing with his fame for profit.
You want me to engage in secondary sales? They don't usually put me on UFC 200 or 300 or the Sphere. They usually put me on UFC 201 or 301. You know, like a double sale thing. That's the White House was gonna hit no matter what. Who the fuck gives a fuck who we put on it? And then wheel McGregor out for the second one. So we double our economic take. We can't decide what these men do, you know. And I don't want to. They, you know, I don't doubt them. It's like in this current climate, we're all cattle. Yeah, all these fighters, we're all cattle. I just happen to be free range. I'm like Wagyu walking around the fucking farm.
Conor McGregor exposes that he was originally slated to clash with Michael Chandler at the White House card, only for the UFC to twist the schedule repeatedly, shuffling opponents and dangling conflicting offers like a cruel game, leaving him stranded in uncertainty.
So, as I was aware, it was the White House. I was up for the White House. I know the administration was strong for me to be in the White House. It was McGregor versus Chandler. The story was built in. Chandler's a stand-up guy. He's electric in the cage. He comes to bring it. I'm the Mac. It would have been dynamite. Somewhere down the line, not me ever saying no or hey-ho, not enough money or no, nothing. Just, maybe we're going to go with you for International Fight Week. Okay, no problem. Maybe we're going to leave Chandler. I do like Chandler. I must have been preparing for him for the last few years. He deserves to go after the waiting, and it would be a great fight. It gets me back in there, but they veered off it. I'm not gonna be too picky. I have to get back. I'm eager to get back. I've been out and loved myself. So okay, sorry Chandler, it is what it is. What weight, Conor, are you gonna do? I'm gonna do 170, as you know. I'm a big boy, a lot bigger than before. Okay, well, we're gonna offer you this opponent. Yes, no problem, I accept. Day after day after day. No problem. We'll send the contract. Excellent. It's a great matchup. That's a great matchup. That's a great matchup. That's all you ever heard about out of me. And no contract came. And that's kind of where I'm at. Still here in this limbo. I know my manager is out there in Las Vegas on Monday. Face-to-face meeting. I hope a respectable offer comes through. I'm notoriously good to deal with. I'm an honest man. I admire fairness. I'm sure we can get it done. And there you go. I assume the vibes I'm getting, and I don't mind it at all, is the BMF contest, which is on this week, a rematch between Holloway and Oliveira. Maybe it's me and that for the next one. So we will see. It's all taking shape. There's so much happening in the fight world. It's actually incredible what's going on in the fight world. It's a great time to be a fight fan.
On the other hand, Justin Gaethje responded to the announcement of his bout with Ilia Topuria at the White House card with a surge of pride and adrenaline, describing it as a thrilling, almost surreal experience, a moment that felt larger than life and charged with electric anticipation.
It was amazing. I kind of knew, but it's I'm not almost crying, but I'm very proud. Promise.
Gaethje confesses that he was initially told he wouldn't step into the cage at the White House event, only to have the rug pulled out from under him when he later discovered he was suddenly back on the card, a twist that left him reeling and questioning every move behind the scenes.
2 days ago, I got a call and they said, "You're definitely not fighting on the White House card." So I was like,
wow, really?
Cool.
Okay.
And then yesterday I got a call and they said, "You might hear something. You might be on the White House card." And I was like, "How are you going to go complete 180 turn on me?" And then today I found out that I was on it. I didn't know if I was main event.
Really? Oh, so it was a big secret. Even the fighters really didn't know.
Dana White further clarifies that the matchup between Ilia Topuria and Islam Makhachev isn't the bout that collapsed on Friday, stressing that Topuria wasn't even originally slated for the card while Makhachev struggles to recover from a hand injury, underscoring that nothing outside officially confirmed fights should be taken as fact amid the swirling rumors.
And the White House card, there's a lot of reporting out of Spain today saying that it was going to be Ilia Topuria and Islam Makhachev, and that fight fell apart on Friday. Well, Justin Gaethje also said he was told Thursday he wasn't on the card, and then on Friday he was.
That is true.
What happened with Islam, I guess, because you know how fans are, a lot of them.
That's not true, I said.
Sure. So
it was never Islam versus Topuria, yeah.
So anyone who thinks Islam ducked this fight or anything like that, it's all incorrect.
Don't worry about what fights are being made. We announced which ones are made and which ones will be happening. I told you there were some weird circumstances. The reason that fight fell out, and it wasn't up on stage with Mick Hunter and Sean, it was that power slap that the fight fell apart that night. That's how Gaethje ended up on the card. And Topuria wasn't originally supposed to be on the card either, so he got the call too.
When can we expect to see Islam Makhachev back?
I don't know. He's got some hand issues. I know that. I don't know how serious the hand issues are or how long that will keep him out, but yeah, he's injured.
Sean Ali insists that Ilia Topuria versus Islam Makhachev deserve to headline the White House card, spotlighting Topuria's achievements and arguing that this electrifying clash is exactly the high-stakes showdown fans have been craving, the fight that should have dominated every conversation leading up to the event.
Ilia is one of the greatest of all time. I think he's going to go down as, he knocked out Alexander Volkanovski, knocked out Max Holloway, knocked out Charles Oliveira, back-to-back, knocked out 3 Hall of Famers in a row.
And do you think he would beat Islam Makhachev?
It's definitely possible. Those guys, number 1 and number 2 pound for pound in the world, I think that's the fight we need to see next. It sucks because Islam's probably not going to come back down to 155. Ilia going up to 170 doesn't make, I mean, he's not a huge guy. He's definitely, you know, he could be walking around 185, 190. He's pretty thick. So I think that's the fight that I'd like to see as like the White House.
Sean Ali also revealed he pleaded relentlessly to be included on the White House card, insisting he was ready to face anyone, music from Ilia to Topuria to Islam Makhachev or even Khabib, his determination burning through every doubt as he chased the chance to step into the spotlight no matter the risk.
Fighting GSP at the White House. I just kidding, I tricked you guys. The fight name is a hobby. I told UFC, I would love to fight at the White House. I will fight anybody at the White House. I will fight Ilia. I will fight Islam. I will fight Khabib. No, but for real, I said I want to fight on the White House card. Please let me fight on the White House card. I don't care who it is. I want to be on there. I want the opportunity to, you know, I fought at the Sphere, which is really cool. The White House, I think there's 6 fights on the White House card. There's me plus 11 other people that get to make the walk from the Oval Office. That's what they're saying. You walk from the Oval Office into the White House lawn. Crazy how secret this card has been. I knew about this literally only like a week ago. I don't know who the main event is. The fight's gonna be outside. Our family's gonna be able to come. Like they're saying how many millions of dollars they're spending on security alone. We're gonna go out there and beat the fuck out of this guy. You know, I go out there and win this fight, I'm next in line for a title. I actually wanted to fight. I really was like, yo, let me fight Peter at the White House. They didn't say that. They said, nah, man. I was like...
Meanwhile, Ariel Helwani dubs the White House card an exceptionally stacked lineup, praising it with high marks while spotlighting the magnetic appeal of Topuria and Pereira sharing the same event, warning that fan expectations are soaring and the pressure for unforgettable performances is reaching a fever pitch.
This is a very good card. Like I said in my video, I give it a 9 out of 10. Like in a vacuum, this is the best pay-per-view card that we've gotten in God knows when, right? In terms of the superstars. But it's because the expectations were put here that some people, by the time June 14th rolls around, everyone's going to be going gaga. You've got Ilia and Alex on the same card. Crazy. Alex trying to make history. Ilia finally coming back almost a year to the date of his last fight. Justin looked great in his last fight. And then you sprinkle in Sean O'Malley and all these guys like that. Compare that to tonight's card. Compare that to the Sydney pay-per-view. Compare that to January 24th.
No, it's...
Kayla should have been on this card. There's 2 surprises. Well, not surprises. Kayla should have been on the card, but she's just on 100%, and that's a bummer. And the Gable Stevenson, I was told that was discussed to have him debut on this card. 2-time Olympic gold medalist. Oh, he's not on the card. That would have been kind of.
That would have been great.
Well, so.
Okay.
Ariel Helwani clarified his take on the White House card, explaining he rated it highly based on a grounded, realistic view of the roster rather than hyped-up expectations, pointing out missing matchups like Kayla's defense and Jones versus Pereira. He emphasized, "When I say 9 out of 10, it's with a realistic look at the roster and management's capacity for mega fights, not the fantasy of 8 title bouts and Conor being on it. None of that was ever going to happen." He admitted wishing Kayla was included and felt Arman should headline, but an American star was needed. Ultimately, he said he's at peace with the card, though Jones versus Pereira remains a glaring miss, no doubt a major whiff. Meanwhile, Arman Sarukian dismissed the Ilia Topuria versus Justin Gaethje fight as a waste of time, a clash that failed to ignite any real excitement or justify its place on the stacked card, leaving fans questioning the matchmaking strategy and the hidden logic behind the event's lineup.
Ilia versus Gaethje is a good fight, but like no chance to Gaethje. Ilia has a better boxing, and I think he's gonna knock him out. They just waste time, you know, waste my time. They gotta put me versus Ilia, and I'll take his belt, and easy money for me.
However, Dana White admits he isn't impressed with Arman at the moment, hinting darkly that his frustration runs deeper than what the public sees, a tangled web of hidden issues and behind-the-scenes conflicts shaping his current discontent.
What's the question again?
Arman, I know Arman said that he spoke to Hunter.
Yeah, got it. I don't know. I'm not thrilled with Arman right now. You know, and there's a lot of different reasons. It's not just the stuff that you see publicly. But yeah.
Care to elaborate on any of those reasons?
No.
Wade Plemon responded to the card, confessing that a Conor vs. Diaz trilogy would have been electrifying, packed with relentless excitement. He declared, "Conor McGregor vs. Nate Diaz 3 has never looked sharper or more realistic than it does after that main event. Take us back to the golden age one more time." Yet, Wade didn't hold back in criticizing the UFC White House card, claiming the hype fell far short of reality, likening the build-up to the promise of a premium experience that ultimately delivered only a fraction of the thrill fans were led to expect, leaving a lingering sense of disappointment in what could have been hanging over the event.
And the entire UFC and the teases that have come from being this, you know, insane, massive card, putting it together, how it was going to blow everything out of the water, it was going to be badass and all this. The hype around this has been ridiculous. And it's given you a sense of like, oh man, something big is coming. Something, you know, along the lines of a UFC 100, 200, 300, or like when, again, you know, Conor McGregor Habib was announced. Conor McGregor came back to the Donald Cerrone fight was announced. When Jorge Masvidal fought Nate Diaz for the BMF. When George St. Pierre came back at UFC 217, it had that kind of feel to it. And I think that's the biggest problem I have right now, was the hype did not match the delivery. This is like ordering Domino's pizza and somehow Little Caesars is delivered. You don't know how it got there. It's definitely not what you asked for. It's clearly not what you were promised, but it's pizza, so you'll eat it. This is kind of how I feel.
So, that wraps up everything from today's video, and now it's your turn. Share your take on the White House card. Did it live up to the hype or leave you wanting more? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to hit subscribe to stay locked in for all the latest updates and insider breakdowns coming your way.